I hope everybody can hear me. I'm very excited today to introduce an audience to the team at Pathashaala. Before that, I am Arsha. I lead recruitment, outreach, and labs at the Circle. A large part of my work is to find um, spaces of reinvention, spaces of spark when it comes to learning, um, especially when it comes to learning in schools and after school spaces across the country, and finding entrepreneurs and people who are willing to build those spaces anew as well. As part of that, one expedition that we took as the Circle team was a visit to this wonderful um, school that didn't look like a school. It was a land that was just one with nature, and that was Pathashaala. It is an hour out of Chennai, and it is in this beautiful multiple acre land. And as soon as you enter, you feel the different energy. And as you start, going deep into the space itself, the first thing you actually learn about are the toilets and how do you actually work with dry toilets. And then you move into the philosophy itself. Pathashaala was launched as a Krishnamurti philosophy school. And some of the people that we have here today, Ms. Sumitra, Mr. Gautam, they all have been working with Krishnamurti schools for many, many years, as far back as as 20, 30 years ago. And they bring a lot of their experience into Pathshala and have built it up from a sapling to what it is today. And I'm very excited for them to share their journey and for the students to share their journey as well. We also have Mr. Bhaveen and Mr. Ramesh, who are both in the leadership at Pathshala. Along with that, what I would love to say is that the leading memory I actually had from the school was when I heard the young people speak, when they spoke about their emotions and their understanding of it and their awareness and the way they would hold it and how you discern it. And that was actually the last part of the visit. And I hope that we talk about those values classes as well. With that, I would love to hand it over. Before we move on, just a quick overarching perspective on the flow today. We will begin with a short film about Pathshala to get us all situated. We will then have our students speaking about the school and its pedagogy. We're then going to do a quick virtual tour and end with a short round of Q&A. And I'd love to welcome us to go into the short film now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Arshia. Bhaveen, if you're ready, we can just show the movie.
Thank you so much. We'll share the film. I've lost co-host status if you could just...
Oh, just a second. Yeah. You have access now.
Sir Ken Robinson mentioned in one of his TED Talks that every educational system on Earth has the same hierarchy of subjects. We tried to find out schools which digress a little from this path, and one of these is Pathshala. Pathshala started not because of a conscious decision to start a school, but it happened because the wind blew an opportunity.
If we had to have a school, what would the school of the 21st century look like? What new things would we have to do? Then we were wondering, what are some things that would have to change? Whatever we did, we would have to do it in a way which would be sustainable environmentally. Then there were questions of pedagogy. Where the way schools have been running, basically information has been given a lot of value. But in some sense, with the end of the century, the age of teaching died. The age of learning has really come of age. And the age of learners and lifelong learners has come of age. Making sense out of information is a far more critical ingredient. They would have to understand how to listen to each other. And they would have to be open to many sources of knowledge. It has also become clear that there are multiple ways of understanding things. People also know that when you do something, you understand far better than when you just listen.
This angle. So we don't know, so probably we know the answer to it, but then there should be a certain way of proving it, right? So that's what the notes book, the question
This is exactly the figure that was put up there. Yeah. My way of teaching is just interacting with the kids, and it is just, you don't throw up the answer in the air at first. You just probe, you make them investigate, analyze, and make them think. It's important. It's important that they be with the question, be with the doubts.
One of the things we talked about when we began the school was a wholly different way of living. You have the whole space out here as a classroom.
When children come here, they see that this place seems to speak to them non-verbally. It speaks to them of something which they are not able to put their finger on, but they feel it is not too finished, it is not too polished, it allows them to try things out, and that builds, I think, courage, resilience.
The children here, and this is the other beautiful thing about Pathashaala, they participate in everything. They're a very empowered lot.
It's what we call a student-centered process. A lot of discussions happen. It's not just chalk and board approach.
It is rather well established that when children are active in the classroom, not passive, when children question, when they do mind maps, when they discuss with each other, they learn far better. Rather than arriving at final conclusions, education is a journey.
I did a bit of studying here and I found that I could do it in my own rhythm, in my own fashion, far less structured, and I liked it here.
What I like about this school is like it's very eco-friendly.
The atmosphere is very, it influences you. Like you see a lot of wildlife over here.
No fail and no pass here.
They just, in this school, they just kind of try to talk to you what happened wrong, you know. That's why I like the school.
Asking questions is quite encouraged. They also encourage children to find out for themselves. In this ambience, the kids tend to look at nature very carefully. This kind of observation and becoming one with the background are extremely important educational opportunities.
So Pathashaala is also about building attitude. You know, children do all the similar little tasks that have to be done, sweeping the floor, wiping the tables, cleaning the dishes. In the 21st century workplace, we don't know who's going to be the person you're going to work with. And if our mind and our attitude is not one which allows us to collaborate choicelessly, I think we will fall behind and we won't know how to conduct ourselves. And our inner resources won't be strong enough to meet this situation.
Pathashaala exhibits a multi-age group environment in its classrooms, which creates a space for different people to have different abilities, different learnings in the same environment.
Most of the learning which we get is mostly from the students itself, because like they sometimes may understand what I may not when a teacher is teaching.
So what I feel is that I imagine myself I'm in 6th. There's a kid named Krishnaraj. He is in 5th and knows all the 7th standard formulas and everything. That is how it goes.
Pathashaala is a very unique place in the sense that there is no difference between a teacher and a student. In fact, we don't like to call ourselves teachers or students. We call ourselves the educator-learner and the learner-educator.
I think Pathashaala is attempting a quality of education where each human being, regardless of who or she is, has a dignified, respectful space where people will listen with care. People have to be lifelong learners. I think in the 21st century, people will change vocations many times with the change in technology, change of place, change of the social conditions. I don't think people are going to be stuck to one career or one job or one role for very long periods of time. They will have to display much more adaptability and resourcefulness to move and do different things. And Krishnamurti said something very profound. He said, the far vision contains the near. Pathashaala, fortunately, in this landscape also, with the skies, with the beautiful sunsets, is focused on the vast distances. People gaze upon the distances every day. And hopefully, this gaze tells us a little bit better how we should relate to what is nearby.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Bhaveen. That was truly such a great film. To everyone in the audience, if you'd like to just use the chat to put in any thoughts at the top of your mind, any sparks that are coming up, any questions that you would later bring to the Pathashaala team, feel free to populate the chat. It's a space to just note down what's inspiring us, what we're curious about. And with that, I'm just going to hand over the session to Lohita and Divya, who are learners at Pathashaala and would just walk us through what learning looks like, what is the pedagogy at this space. And over to you.
So yes, good evening, everyone. This is Lohita from A level. I'm Divyashri from AS level, and we would be guiding you through an exploration of life at Pathashaala. To begin, I would like to share a profound quote from J. Krishnamurti, which resonates deeply with the school's philosophy and practices. In learning, there is neither the teacher nor the taught. There is only learning. This captures the essence of the school's approach to education. Pathashaala is one of the several schools operated by the KFI Foundation, dedicated to one purpose: the awakening of students' intelligence, enabling them to flourish in goodness. Our educational journey extends beyond the boundaries of traditional academics, emphasizing core principles that shape our understanding of education and learning. Key aspects of this approach include fostering the ability to listen, observe, and question, encouraging a sense of responsibility, respecting every living being, and nurturing sensitivity towards our work and environment. We look forward to sharing more about how these values influence our daily lives and learning experiences at Pathashaala. We are located near the Palar River. Pathashaala is home to diverse flora and fauna. In 2010, Care Earth developed an environmental management plan that highlighted the campus's rich natural history, linking it to the river over 500 years. With 144 recorded plant species, including 27 indigenous varieties, and fauna like blackbuck and peacocks, we learn to preserve and appreciate our environment while respecting all living creatures. Our school emphasizes inquiry, fostering critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. Students here are encouraged to look beyond textbooks, pursue their questions, and apply their learning through projects and practicals. This approach helps helps us build a strong foundation and a meaningful relationship with our studies. At Pathashaala, our academic learning follows the Cambridge IGCSE and A-level syllabi with mixed-stage classes featuring various activities like discussions, self-study, and assessments. We emphasize hands-on engagement through demonstrations and creative projects in our biology, chemistry, physics, and middle school labs, along with outdoor study spaces. Additionally, a computer room supports digital activities for everyone. At Pathashaala, classes 7 and 8 are organized into a senior mixed age groups, promoting peer learning and collaboration. Junior mixed age groups for classes 5 and 6 encourage similar interactions. Subjects include English, science, math, environmental management, Hindi or Tamil, and social science, following the IGCSE and NCERT syllabi. Active learning is central to our approach, using worksheets, projects, and field trips to enhance understanding. Assessment includes regular tests, oral presentations, and group projects, ensuring comprehensive evaluation of a student progress. Pathashaala reopened fully in July 2022 after the COVID pandemic, implementing significant changes to our calendar and learning processes. Parents can now attend all assemblies through Zoom, and Google Classroom is utilized weekly to reinforce concepts featuring MCQs for grades 5 to 8. Each term follows a 7-week, 2-week, 7-week structure, with 2 weeks dedicated to study from home and online assessments. Midterm tests, which we call milestones, are conducted, followed by review sessions the next week on Zoom, allowing parents to engage with their children's learning. Each learning space has 4 classrooms that are L-shaped, and 3 other rooms used, and some of these are staff rooms, IT room, and laboratories. Junior MAG, Senior MAG, and Class 10 are in Parijat. Class 9, AS and A-level are in Tamarai. Engagement with subjects in learning spaces are not just restricted to classrooms. We sometimes grab our books and lead our EL to sit under the shady neem tree, or simply have a class while taking a walk around the campus. We invite Bhavinanna to talk about assessment, self-assessment, and evaluation.
So we have assessments, and assessments are an integral part of the school. While we don't encourage competition, excellence is something that in academics and otherwise is something that we explore and try to understand what excellence would mean without competition. And these are the frames in which assessment happens. There is no ranking in the classes. The assessment is to help the learner and the educator to understand what is working and how a child might move through a gradient. So there is a beginning of term assessment that helps the learner and the educator understand where the child is in terms of a certain set of skills. And then the midterm assessment, which happens at the end of 7 weeks when the child is at home. So they attempt it online. And this is followed by a review and redo, where feedback is given for every piece of work, and it's discussed. And after that, there is a redo also set, so that one learns what mistakes one has made from the mistakes one has made. And there is also an end of term assessment that we call the checkpoint. The midterm assessment is called the milestone, and the end of term assessment is called the checkpoint. This also happens across subjects for all classes. And so one gets a sense of how the child has moved across these assessments. In addition to these, there are also weekly assessments that happen in the classes. And there is something called a self-assessment, which the child attempts before the checkpoint. And so in that, there are questions that help the child reflect on how he or she has engaged and learned through the term, what the difficulties have been, and the educator also gets a sense of what has worked and what hasn't worked. Feedback is an integral part of this as well, and it is solicited and done in different ways for classes that happen weekly as well.
Thank you, Anna. So the academic framework of AS&A is multimodal and has many opportunities and challenges. The academic curriculum, approach, and framework of the Cambridge AS&A level exams is in consonance with Pathashaala's vision. It encourages curiosity, helping LEs to investigate, think out of the box, explore, persist with a question, and present. The AS&A level program emphasizes self-study alongside contact time with EL, fostering independent learning and accountability. This approach allows us to explore topics beyond the syllabus while receiving guidance and resources from the EL. Coursera is available for half a day each week, allowing each LE to pursue a chosen course or prepare for competitive exams. We also engage in weekly community work, selecting from various initiatives or proposing our own interests to encourage our passions. We invite Sumitraka to talk about AS&A level course for 2025 to 2027.
Thank you, Divishri and Lohita. It's a 2-year course, and like they already shared with you, it has community-oriented work and hybrid learning possibilities. There are very challenging projects, which possibly some of those projects will be shared with you today. We encourage interfaces, learning interfaces with other schools. Our children have learned a great deal, seniors have learned a great deal from attending and participating freely in one. They anchor their own sustainability inter-school symposia. And there are virtual meetings with experts in areas where they need it, because we are a rural school, but we are able to connect through Zoom. So there are subject-based explorations and visits. We'll probably be building on them further. And they do go to Vasant Vihar, which is the Krishnamurti, the center, the Krishnamurti Center for India. And they spend half a day along with the director and the people there, and learn what they can learn from the atmosphere as well as from the teaching. They co-hold the ethos of the school. That's probably the most important and essential part, and we're proud to say that every year we work with the seniors to build the culture and we are work in progress and to learn from it. We learn from the seniors as well from many interfaces. We're a very small school, and that helps immensely, I think. I think the primary focus of the curricular frame is empowering the learner. I think it's important that they become, in some ways, empowered and self-directed in their learning. And so while the teacher or the educator-learner facilitates the evocation of the subject, they're free to read, they're free to engage. There is a supervision of self-study. There's definitely the commitment to written work, prompt correction, and strict adherence to a term plan which is negotiated with them. And there are evocative individuated discussions because the number is small. Our maximum is 10 to 12 students per 11th and 12th. And so the important thing here, I think, is engagement. So here, and the other thing that we are envisaging is space to learn about what I'm interested in. I think to produce finished products is not our aim, whether it's human beings or even learning. So while assessment is given its due importance, I think the important thing is students who find space to choose and to create their learning and their learning grading. And in this, I'm very proud to say that this year, for instance, when Teach for India came to Pathashaala, they were both inspired and inspiring. It was really wonderful to talk to them. And some of the students are looking actively to see whether they're AS or A level. They're looking to see whether there's scope for apprenticeship and for work with Teach for India. I think that's one of the many things I think they're looking forward to doing, spending time with their interests and figuring out what they want to do. So there is going to be gap years are also, if students are interested It's certainly not mandated or even suggested. But should a student be interested in taking a year off and doing a range of things that might interest them, they're encouraged to do so, with the support of the parents.
Thank you, Sumitraka. I would like to invite Shomona to say a few words about Ignite, Innovate, and Inspire.
Thanks, Lohita and Divyasri. So, this Ignite, Innovate, Inspire gives the senior class LEs an opportunity to explore self-directed projects. It pushes them to think deeply and creatively beyond their curriculum. In the last academic year, they chose various projects with the guidance of the subject TLs and pursued them. So we'll now see a few of the projects. First, I invite Ramanujam to share a few lines about his project.
In my physics class, I learned about resistance and current and became interested in parallel combinations increasing current. Through my project, I explored their uses and applications for optimizing weight and temperature use.
Thanks, Ramanujam. Next, I invite Lohita to share about her project.
I have taken up building a forecasting econometric model as an extension of my interest in economics and exchange rates. And as part of research and exploration, I had not only enjoyed learning various techniques of forecasting, but I had found myself increasingly interested in, this narrow area of economics and statistics. Though it's a late discovery, I'm glad I found an opportunity to explore the areas of my interest.
Thanks, Lohita. Now I will invite Virinchi to share about his project.
Building a drone seemed like an interesting challenge, and even though I was bewildered by the complexity and depth of each individual component, I persisted. Still, I have not gotten into takeoff. Alongside numerous physics concepts related to alternating current and the use of conversion from DC to AC, I have also learned the value of persistence and the importance of understanding.
Thanks, Virinchi. There were also some of other projects like developing an atmospheric water generator and experimenting with using biotic factors to decentralize dry waste management.
Thank you, Shomana. Now I would like to invite Rameshana to talk about the LE and EL relationship in Pathashaala.
Yeah. So thank you, Lohita and Divyasri, for this. So good evening to everybody who has gathered here. So you have already heard the term educator, learner, and learner educator. So at Pathashaala, we don't have students and teachers. We have only educator, learner, and learner educator. So the relationship between the EL, the LE, the short form, provides ample scope for continuing dialogue on a platform where there is no authority and fear operating. There is acquisition of knowledge and an invitation for inquiry to come face to face with one's conditioning. So it's not only the academics that is taken care of, but also to understand oneself and life. So that is the relationship which is there, which provides this scope.
Safety is an essential part of in Pathashaala, where we address teasing, bullying, and disrespectful behavior through open conversations with ELs and reflective timeouts. In extreme cases, parents may be advised to take their child home if needed. To maintain boundaries, ELs and LEs avoid physical contact unless necessary. The POSCO committee ensures student safety with counseling available as needed. Dorm life is designed to foster cooperation, fairness, self-restraint, caring, and sharing among learner educators. This is accomplished through shared norms and values related to various aspects of community living. These norms are based on 4 key aspects: health, hygiene, safety, and relationships. We find these 4 things to be very important to ensure every LE and EL to have a healthy environment. So academics aside, we spend a great deal of time in activities such as outdoor games, practicing yoga, games that are played with a sense of community, which we call community games, weaving and pottery, nature walks, arts and crafts, gardening. One of the initiatives taken by 2 of the senior LEs, Ayush and Lohita, are clubs. So junior mag and senior mag alternate between interdisciplinary weeks and area study weeks, exploring themes through unconventional methods of learning. And we also have inter-school condatums featuring themes like Arigal and Neer. We promote sustainability by closing during monsoon and peak summer months and using eco-friendly architecture for well-ventilated classrooms. We also prioritize organic food, including locally sourced millets, and encourage connections with neighboring buildings. We use... Gautamana, would you like to talk about the dry toilets?
Well, I think it's already been said, we have only dry composting toilets in Pathashaala. We have water level at 20 feet below the ground. And to not pollute the groundwater, there is only dry composting toilets. And apart from this, of course, this means everybody has to learn a new way of using a toilet, which is very simple. You don't pour water inside the toilet bowl. And then you also learn that you can take care, you can harvest the compost from the toilets. All of us, as you can see in the visual, harvest compost on 2nd October and 2nd April.
Thank you, Anna. Here are some of the food items we have regularly made out of millets. Pathashaala is committed to environmental responsibility, operating entirely on solar power for the kitchen, laundry, residences, and classrooms. And like Anna said, we use dry composting toilets and passive solar roofing for ventilation. And now we're moving towards the solar electric future. This is the shredder and the biogas plant. Here, wood is burned in a boiler to heat water and produce steam for indirect cooking. And this is a measure to reduce LPG consumption. This is one of the projects that Class 10 took up, where they utilize natural fertilizers like Panchagavya, which promote soil preservation and management. We invite Sumitra to talk about sustainable relationship with the neighborhood.
We engage with the neighborhood in a variety of ways. I think we engage with the schools in a neighborly manner. They come to school, we go to their school. We link to the Panchayat Union schools in a variety of ways. We participate in the Gram Sabha. We do longitudinal surveys. This is a participatory rural appraisal before a longitudinal survey done in 2019. I think it's very important for young people to understand from each other how they can approach the future. Pasumai Vigadan has featured us as Satum Tarsarvapalli. We have, of course, we are bilingual in all our interactions in the Kondatam to ensure that there is equitable sharing. We invite a variety of schools so that there is diverse sharing. We think diversity is extremely important. Next slide. we of course interact with the farmers in the neighborhood, and I think that's very important as well.
Okay. So at Pathashaala, the focus on well-being extends beyond the classroom to create a holistic learning environment. We engage in discussions that encourage careful listening, acceptance of diverse viewpoints, and autonomous, responsible thinking within our community. Are we able to listen carefully? Are we able to accept and work with diverse viewpoints? Are we able to think autonomously and responsibly in the living and learning space? Many forums of discussion are created to foster inquiry of such questions. High school and senior school students come together to discuss and debate on current issues for contemporary studies, to know what is happening around the world, and understanding our own viewpoints. Middle school students attend the common culture class. Often there are questions that there are in the back of our heads that we don't usually ask or think about, and culture class sessions provide us the space to voice these questions and persist with them. Both these 1.5-hour sessions are hosted every week by the director and attended by the class teachers. Now we invite Manasvi to talk about autonomous learning.
We understand that the effort we put in our academics is what will be reflected in the end, and we have learned that this is also the case in the whole of life. So Pathashaala's AS and A-level autonomous learning program helps prepare you to meet that by having dedicated time for self-study and the ability to choose a private subject and take complete responsibility for our learning.
Thank you, Manasri. I would like to invite Sindhu to talk about ownership and responsibility.
I think in AF and A level, the LEs are called culture bearers, and in this program, you are an integral part of the school. You co-hold the culture. You take care of events. You host events and rotas and various other things that happen in the school, and that makes you feel like a trusted and valued member of the community. So I think a lot of ownership and responsibility is learned in this co-holding of the space.
Thank you, Sindhu. As Krishnamurti once said, "You are the world, and the world is you." This captures the importance of holistic alternate learning approaches that nurture not just academic growth, but also emotional and social development, helping an individual integrate into the ever-changing wider world. By choosing to actively engage with our surroundings, I believe that a sense of responsibility and interconnectedness is cultivated. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lohita and Divya, Manasvi and Sindhu, and everyone in the at the team at Pathashaala. While we have you, all the learners and educators here, Elise, I would love for you to answer a specific question that came on the chat. I think we can take the next few minutes to hold space for some of the questions that are coming from the attendees, and then we can move on to the virtual tour in the interest of time. I think it was Rekha who asked if you could elaborate a little bit on how you learn from your peers and how you learn from each other, and what are some ways you collaborate, and also how is it that you're able to give feedback feedback for your learning spaces and just to the school in general. Anyone who wants to take this up.
Make my question more specific?
Yes, sorry. Rekha, would you like to? I'm sorry, I don't know who was speaking. I was just, if you could answer the question that came on the chat, specifically around how do you give feedback to the school administration about your learning experiences, or anything else that you'd like to give insights on. Manasvi and Sindhu, go ahead.
I'd like to. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'd like to answer the part about where you asked how we give feedback. So we have something in school called a proposal form, which is when if you have a suggestion to make, you think about it, you fill it out, and the form asks you for advantages and disadvantages of your proposal. So you fill both in, and you make sure you're thinking equitably on both sides of. Yeah, and you're not just going ahead with this is an idea and it's good because it's my idea. So it encourages you to think about it, and in the process, if you feel like it's not viable, you modify it and you change it. And yeah, the ELs, then I think everyone in the school it's run by everybody, and then if it does seem like a viable suggestion and everybody wants to have, then it's taken forward. So proposal forms are very integral to school feedback.
I think one more forum where we are allowed to engage together and talk is open houses. So the whole school gets together and everyone is given a chance to raise any questions, clarify any doubts, and this is the ELs, LEs, and everybody.
Okay. I love that. I love that approach of thinking very critically about your proposals. Um, I think you'd like to add something. Is it Sumitraji's Zoom?
Yeah, this is Virinchi. I'm in A level. I just wanted to add. So Manasvi and Sindhu spoke about elements of structural elements that encourage feedback. But other than that, after every class, the EL asks for feedback, and there's no barrier between the LE and EL, and this uh, too is very crucial to yeah fostering learning and encouraging feedback. So the ELs actively seek feedback, and the LEs don't hesitate to give feedback.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for taking the time and answering those. I think there was another question from Prakash around engagement with parents, and I think Gautamaji, you were just typing the answer. If you'd like to come off of mute and just address that question, it'll be very helpful.
One part of my answer is reasonably clear. I put it down. I typed it out. First thing is, I think if a school is finding something is the right thing to do, it's difficult when you're making departures to know what is the right thing to do. But if you have gone through the process of proposing, discussing, sharpening, then you have a clarity about what is the right thing to do. Then schools need to create the space to do it and find ways of doing it. I think schools cannot just cater to what is being asked for in the marketplace. In fact, you have to help parents understand. Meeting a lot of children in school, one begins to see that the directions of the future are not going to be just like the directions of the past. And the kind of opportunities which people experience today, the kind of changes in the job environment. So the notion of security, which is what security and success, notions of security and success are what drive anxiety and also drive people into certain channels. I think it's important to kind of step back a little bit from this and realize that we don't know what the future is going to be like. Nobody can even predict what's going to be happening in 5 years from now in the job environment, in the kind of technological spaces, in the kind of workspaces. We are educating people for a future which is unknown. And therefore, it is the fundamentals which are going to kind of guide them. Strengthening the individual, helping the individual rightly find balance and strength in his or her fundamentals, collaboration, thinking, not being daunted by questions or opposition, not getting invalidated very easily, building emotional and other kinds of stamina, physical stamina, of course, very important. So if these are the directions, and I think people will change vocations and jobs many times. This is not something that has sunk in very much in human consciousness, particularly, I think, when people are anxious about their children. I think it is the school's role also to hold on to these fundamentals quite strongly in terms of its interactions and its communication to parents and the young people whom it has the good fortune of educating, the challenge of education.
Thank you so much for that. I couldn't agree more. when it comes to your emphasis on just building competencies which are at the core, and then skills can always be built upon if there are fundamental competencies out there. If anyone would like to just come off of mute and ask a question to the LEs or the ELs, feel free to do that. If something's not been answered, we'll hold space for the questions for a few more minutes. Okay, I guess we don't have anyone coming off of mute. I think I'll ask a few questions.
I actually have asked in the chat only. I'm not sure I can go ahead if that's okay.
Sure, Anushka, why don't you just ask your question here?
Sure. There was a slide about how students like going ahead with milestone such as grade 10 or grade 12. So there was a point around the students have the students can take a gap year, or students can take 1.5 years where they can also do apprenticeship with the school, and the school also offers guidance. So my question that I was trying to ask is that what happens if students, does Pathshala have this kind of a opening where the students, if they are struggling traditionally in the traditional school systems, can they be part of the Pathshala systems even if they are grown up, like they're already in grade 9, 10, but then they are struggling in the traditional school systems? But does Pathshala provide educational benefits for those kind of students? Can they take admission at that later age? I think that was primarily my question. Yeah.
It's, I think they have the option. They have the option of, but that is on an individual basis. We look at everything on an individual basis. We offer support when students find it a little difficult to cope with the IGCSE syllabus or with the, right now, for the AS and A level, we are offering private support for NIOS. We do offer that, and we are certainly opening it out to the rural young people who wonder sometimes what to do when they are not able to cope with academic learning. We are certainly going to work with that in outreach, wherein we are supporting NIOS and IGNOU if possible. We will see what vocational training is there. We've offered this already for X-ray imaging, for computer support, for for ladies, we offer stitching and other support. So, and coaching, extra classes for our neighboring schools, PUMS, we've offered all of that. Support in the condatums for projects. We do all that. Certainly, it would be possible. Certainly, a child who's interested in this approach to learning would be supported to find some certification, 100%.
Thank you for that, Sumitraji. I think while we have you and we are on the topic of just individual attention for learners, I think Priyanshi had a question on how do you ensure students who are facing challenges? I believe this is specifically for learning challenges or learning difficulties. How do you ensure that those are detected, and what are some identification and remediation practices that are in place at Pathshala?
There are two approaches we take to this. One is checking with humane organizations that do learning disability testing. We do offer that in the sense that we ask them to approach organizations we are familiar with that do such testing for learning disability, whether it's dyslexia, dyscalculia, and any other thing that is clearly classified as learning disability. And depending on what how they wish to work. Sometimes people with dyslexia have wanted to struggle through their dyslexia and write the IGCSE exam, and we've supported them. We've supported them with A-level also. There have been students with, again, dyslexia whom we've supported. We have a child who's just passing out who's got autism. It depends on how we engage. Quite a lot depends on the learning relationship. It's difficult to classify. And I think with ADD and ADHD and other such, because there's a child I remember in class 5 who came up and said very blithely, very happily, I'll never forget it. He was beaming away and he was saying, I've got ADHD, And I don't think we judge a child on the basis of such labels, because sometimes those labels are very cruel. So we engage with learners and we take it from there.
Thank you for answering the question. Just a quick follow-up on the same. Like you were mentioning about intense challenges, right? Like this dyslexia or ADD or ADHD. What about mild to moderate challenges? Something, simple that could be maybe solved through remediation in like a week or like a month. How do the curriculum like account for that?
Tutorials, worksheets, and so on are provided. We don't judge the child in the meantime. We try to take, we don't judge the child, meaning that we talk to the parent, I think. And sometimes parents are very anxious about the labels that are supplied. We say, please wait. And sometimes the waiting and the work with worksheets and other interfaces that the child can build with learning help a baby.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyanshi. Thank you, Sumitraji. I think just taking the last question before we move on to the tour, Palak had asked a question around what are some career paths that alumni have taken up once they graduate Pathashaala, and are there certain pathways that are a pattern, or just largely if you can help us with examples?
I'd like my colleagues to help me in this, but we're a very young school. We're just 15 years of age, and our first batch wrote their +2 exam in 2018. So we have a small number to comment upon. They've gone the line of UPSC. Some of them have chosen to do math and science, as specialities. Some of them have chosen, say, physics, and then moved into humanities for a while, and then got back to science. Some of them have chosen to follow business. Some of them have followed visual communication and the arts in a big way. And some of them have attempted competitive exams and got through as well, like JEE and NEET. I know for sure that we have children have been admitted into colleges after passing the NEET exam. Like I said, we encourage children to we encourage children to follow their heart's path. And should a child want to attempt a competitive exam, it's got to be done humanely. We allow them to attend coaching classes once a week, half a day. Then there is printed material that they bring. They can study, but it will be anchored in their holistic learning. It won't be narrowed down and pushed at them.
Great. Thank you so much for answering that. I want to keep enough space for the virtual tour. For anyone who has more questions in the audience, feel free to put it in the chat. We will compile and send it to the Pathashaala team after this session, and we'll be responding to you accordingly. We can move on to the virtual tour. Thank you so much for answering all our questions. The virtual tour is about 20 minutes, so please stick around, look at what the learners at Pathashaala have made for us, and then if there are any questions, feel free to put them on the chat.
Somebody asked how many students we have. We have between 100 and 120 students, depending on, we've gone on a 2.5-year cycle as well. So between 100 and 120 students with about 20 to 24 teachers.
Thank you for that. Will we just share the video, Bhavi?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Pathashaala is designed around Dunbar's number, 150, for sufficient diversity and is small enough to explore options. The pedagogy leans towards active learning and the constructivist approach, with Cambridge as the exam board. To embed the notion of lifelong learning into the consciousness of the school, the nomenclature shifted from teachers to educator learners and from students to learner educators. The campus was built in such a way that people from rural areas and villages would not feel intimidated by the structures. The campus with open skies, gently sloping land from west to east, the flora and fauna is situated on the flood plains of the Palar River. Carefully planned canals drain the rainwater quickly from the campus during the monsoon months. The campus provides all residents with a taste of environmentally sane living with a low carbon footprint. Pathashaala and its people have shared their resources, material and educational, with the villages around through outreach, collaborating with the and state government efforts in education, and sensitively planning meaningful projects, learning and valuing the wisdom and the resilience of the village residents.
In Pathashaala, nothing we do is restricted to a single location. Learning is not confined to the classrooms, and in the same way, games is not confined to the games field. Our assembly hall, open to nature on all sides, is one such place where we have singing assemblies, play cooperative games, and also host special events such as flock-togethers.
If you ask a question, why we play games, what is the value of playing with a group of people? The answer is joy of playing together, and listening to ideas happens verbally and non-verbally.
The Art Center is another place where we all gather for our assemblies. It has a circular structure which makes it ideal for large group discussions. As the name suggests, art activities such as pottery and weaving happen here. The murals outside the Art Center and the one in the art room were made by senior students as part of their community-oriented work. Weekly movie screenings also happen here. Right next to the assembly hall lies the admin building.
This is the first building people enter when they visit the school. The administrative staff work in this building. The library of the school is also located here. It has got a wide variety of books which are color-coded based on age group. This includes a large collection of Krishnamurti books.
Much like the library is a store of books, the maintenance shed houses the supplies needed for the daily upkeep of the campus. It is also the place where the school's electric vehicles are kept. The maintenance shed is the main meeting point for all the maintenance staff in school, making it vital for the smooth functioning of the campus. The centralized laundry system used in school helps cut our water usage by half as compared to a decentralized one. It is located right under the school's water tank. The water tank is filled using a solar pump.
While our entire staff are hard at work in the laundry area, LEs are hard at work in the learning spaces. Both learning spaces, Parijat and Tamare, which house junior and senior school respectively, are created with unique design features such as L-shaped classrooms, flexible blackboard position, which allow for ELs to change the orientation of the class, and big windows that let people look outside and embrace the nature around them. Now, let's take a glimpse into some classes.
Here we have hydrochloric acid.
HCl.
Yeah, HCl, right? So this is 15 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid. I'm going to pour it over here. Now I'm going to take two spatula, as I said. Something is converted.
Particles in the air vibrate, right? And they get transferred. Now we can actually understand this by a small experiment.
Playing class 8 will be presenting a debate on the motion is tourism a good thing. Now I invite 4 groups to put forward their points.
Tourism can help our ecosystems
by providing the funds and attention needed to protect our land and the biodiversity. So one example of this is Kaziranga National Park.
Tourism can negatively impact the ecosystem of a place. Take Ladakh for example. The local people there use dry toilets to save water. Now due to tourism, there are big hotels being built to accommodate tourists. This wastes water in the form of wet toilets.
Today we are going to touch upon one of the elements in detail, that is characterization. Okay. What makes up a character?
Yeah, so this is my character. So her name is Estella and she's an Indian Australian and she has superpowers.
I'm going to talk about my character. His name is Roger. He has jet black hair and he has blue eyes. He looks really short-tempered and fierce, but he's a really kind person.
मैं आपको आपकी पाठ्यपुस्तक सुरभि से आपकी जो कविता है पाठशाला उसके विषय में आपको बताने वाला हूँ। तो सबसे पहले हम ये करेंगे कि पाठशाला का अर्थ क्या होता है।
पाठशाला ज्ञान और विज्ञान की, पाठशाला अनुसंधान की, सीमित और असीमित को खोजते हैं समय को समय में,
सीखते और सिखाते जीवन के पहलू को पाठशाला देती मौका समझने का।
Today we will be discussing about how we deconstruct the levels of government. Arjun, can you tell what is this?
This is the level of the entire Indian government structure.
System, we learned about Panchayat Raj system. Coming down, we are going to learn about urban government. So now I will be talking about central. So central is the topmost level of government in India. The central government runs and takes care of the whole nation.
So we are going to look at the new chapter, organisms and their environment. It talks about how energy is transferred from one organism to the other. Now we will pause for a minute from the worksheet. We will discuss about the impact of over-harvesting and the foreign species on the environment. Link it to food chain and food web. Discuss with your peers in your table.
A good schedule taps into order. Krishnamurti stated very clearly in his book, The Awakening of Intelligence, that order is not habit. So, how can an academic schedule create a structured environment that helps learners to manage their time effectively, but anchor in creativity for the learner and the educator? How does the academic planning incorporate diverse subjects, activities, and learning experiences? Will there be room for reflection, for equitable collaboration, for the exploration and integration of academic skills with social and emotional learning, for physical and mental health? The other vital question in academic planning is to evolve a cogency between a gradient of academic learning in various disciplines and flexibility and responsiveness to individual needs in the classroom and out of it. Perhaps the key challenge is the evoking of ownership in learning, balancing challenge and support in the nurturing of a learning community. Outreach is not extraneous to this. It's an integral part of the nurturance.
As outlined by Sumitraji, there is a lot of space provided by the academic framework of Pathashaala to explore learning beyond the scope of the curriculum and the syllabus. One such example of this is the projects done by the 11th and 12th.
Ignite, Inspire, Innovate, an extension of our interests and formal curriculum. It provides learners an opportunity to explore their interests and persist with their curiosity at various disciplines. Some of the examples are creating a drone, building a statistical model, and coming up with an atmospheric water generator. I did a pilot study about dry waste management using earthworms. The project has not only allowed me to explore my interests, but also made me realize my strengths and weaknesses.
The subject Global Perspectives one that is unique to the Cambridge curriculum, is one that fosters individuals to take action to combat global issues.
As part of Global Perspective Stream project, my team focused on creating a manual that emphasized the need to switch from inorganic farming to other types of traditional farming. In that, I particularly focused on the need to store the produce in order to prevent wastage and also to meet the consumer demand effectively. The manual that was made was given to a women SHG in Korapattu.
Another activity senior school undertakes is community-oriented work. This is directly linked to taking initiative within the school itself. Some initiatives include making murals, redesigning the songbook, and reviving the Science Park.
I'll be talking a bit about Science Park. Science Park is an initiative taken up by Pathashaala as part of its outreach program to benefit the community around. So Science Park has interactive exhibits that allow students to learn fundamental scientific principles, which would enable them to learn and relate to them. Due to the pandemic, the Science Park wasn't used very frequently as it was used earlier. So as part of community-oriented work, senior students have taken up initiatives to restore Science Park to its former glory.
As part of a cow initiative, the idea of clubs as a whole school activity emerged. Another very special activity senior school undertakes is contemporary studies. This is a weekly discussion in the Three Circles area around global contemporary issues and how they are relevant to our lives. After a period of intense learning, stomachs are grumbling. It's time to eat. The dining hall is where the whole school, including NTS staff, gather for meals. Everybody sits on the floor at round tables, the seating arrangement of which is shuffled once a fortnight. All meal serving is done by LEs along with NTS and EL as a form of rotational activity, also known as rota. Other rotas include cutlery washing, where a group of people work together to wash the plates of the whole school, saving almost 5,000 liters of water every day, and dining area, wherein we clean the spaces in which we eat and serve. Rotas are a practice which is followed in many other areas in school, including toilet cleaning, dorm cleaning, and classroom cleaning.
Akkas from the neighboring villages work in the kitchen and cook food for the entire school. All the vegetables and fruits are locally sourced from nearby farms, and most of the rice we eat is grown right in school. A special feature of our school's menu is the inclusion of millets, known for both their nutritional value and their low water consumption, in every meal. Steam cookers are used to cook most of the food in the kitchen. All food waste gets shredded and is then used to generate biogas. Most days after snacks, Ellies make their way to the games field. There they play a range of games, including football, basketball, cricket, frisbee, and volleyball. Each game is played in a non-competitive manner, with discussions after every session. This allows for individual and group skill development through active reflection.
After a long day, everyone makes their way back to their dorms. The dorms, which resemble birds in flight, are constructed using Vada tumblers and brick domes. These features serve a functional purpose as they help cool down the space, and their simplistic nature means that the construction is eco-friendly. Within the dorms, people play various indoor games such as chess, carom, and TT during their hobbies time.
Another very special feature of the dorms, and in fact all the spaces in Pathashaala, is the dry toilet. This helps reduce the amount of water used by more than 2000 liters every day. Additionally, the compost generated is used in school to grow the coconut trees. The whole community gathers to celebrate this biannual process of harvesting the toilets.
The same sense of togetherness experienced in compost harvesting can be found in another very special place. The study center, which is a feature of all Krishnamurti schools, is a space dedicated for those interested in understanding the teachings of Krishnamurti. On Krishnamurti Day, the whole school gathers here to discuss his teachings and their relevance in our daily lives. Krishnamurti retreats with parents of the school are also held here.
The guest house is the place where guests of the school are accommodated. On top of the building lies the entire school's power generation system. Our campus is fully reliant on solar energy, and switching from a decentralized system to a centralized one has allowed us to move from high voltage AC to high voltage DC. This has resulted in the elimination of power loss in the conversion from DC to AC. All the fans of the campus were changed to electrically efficient BLDC fans as part of this transition. The solar thermal plant is the result of an ongoing collaboration between IIT Madras and Pathashaala. It is a pilot project that aims to demonstrate how solar energy can be used without introducing electric batteries. It uses mirrors to heat water to superheated steam at 500 degrees Celsius that is then passed through a turbine to generate electricity. If successful, it will pave the way for a more sustainable method of harnessing solar energy.
Another building on the northeastern side of the campus is the ongoing Teacher Education Center. This is the newest building in school, which has been constructed to house visitors who come to the school to take part in the 2-week teacher education program. This program aims to help people from all walks of life understand the school's approach to education. As the sun sets in on the horizon and the birds return to their nests, our long walk through the 100-acre campus of Pathashaala, through the trees, the learning spaces, and the places where we gather, comes to an end.
Tomorrow, there will be many more moments of joy, of learning, of celebration, of reflection, and of resourceful struggle. But for now, this community of 150 goes to sleep, awaiting the sunrise, a new day.
So much for that. Really loved it. It was really immersive and so extensive. I am really grateful that all of you put so much effort in bringing the information together and really giving everyone here a peek into the ongoings at Pathashaala and really what your philosophy is. I'm really grateful that you shared everything, and everyone in the audience, thank you so much for sticking around. Please fill this quick feedback form before you leave. And as I mentioned, if you have any further questions for Pathashaala, feel free to just write to us and we will send it to them for answers. All right, I think we're good to close. Thank you so much, all the ELs and the LEs who joined us today. It was really great to see everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Circle Labs, and thank you, all of you who were here.
Thank you so much, Sumitraji. Okay, have a great rest of the evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.